Imagine finding out that you're not just a regular person, but you're also a prince from a magical kingdom under the sea. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, that's kind of what happens in our movie today, Aquaman. It's a big, exciting adventure with amazing underwater cities, super cool powers, and a hero who has to decide which world he really belongs to. This movie is more than just about a superhero who can swim fast and talk to fish. It's about family, about finding your place in the world when you feel like you don't fit in, and about two very different worlds, the land where we live and the incredible world hidden deep down in the ocean, and whether they can ever get along. Today on Jolly Moosh Verse, we're going to explain the whole story of Aquaman in simple and easy English. We'll go through everything that happens, from how Arthur Curry, our hero, finds out who he really is, to the big battles under the sea and the important choices he has to make. So get ready for an underwater adventure. If you love superheroes, amazing special effects, or just want to understand the story of Aquaman better, then this video is for you. Let's dive in. Aquaman is a superhero movie that came out in 2018. It was directed by James Wan, who is known for making really exciting and visually stunning movies. The main actors in Aquaman are Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry, who is also known as Aquaman. He's the main hero, strong and a bit of a loner at first. Amber Heard as Mera, a brave and powerful princess from the underwater kingdom of Beall. Patrick Wilson as Orm Marius, Arthur's half-brother and the king of Atlantis, who is also the main bad guy in the movie. Willem Dafoe as Vulko, a wise and important advisor from Atlantis who helps Arthur. Nicole Kidman as Atlanta, Arthur's mother and the queen of Atlantis. Temuera Morrison as Tom Curry, Arthur's human father who lives in a lighthouse. This movie was a big success all over the world because it had amazing underwater scenes, lots of action, and a really interesting story about a hero finding his place. It cost around $200 million to make but earned over $1 billion worldwide, making it one of the most successful DC superhero movies ever. Our story begins a long time ago, during a really wild and scary storm. The ocean was so rough with huge waves crashing against the shore and the wind howling like crazy. Right by the sea stood a tall building with a bright light on top. A lighthouse. A kind man named Tom Curry lived there, taking care of the light to help ships stay safe. One night during this terrible storm, Tom found someone washed up on the rocks near his lighthouse. It was a beautiful woman, but she was hurt and looked very different from anyone Tom had ever seen. Her name was Atlanta, and she was the queen of the amazing underwater kingdom of Atlantis. She had run away from her home for reasons we'll find out later. Tom took care of Atlanta, and even though they came from completely different worlds, one from the land with sunshine and air, and the other from the deep blue sea, they fell in love. They spent time together in the lighthouse, sharing stories and learning about each other's lives. Soon, they had a baby boy, and they named him Arthur. Arthur was special because he got amazing powers from his mom. He could breathe underwater just like a fish, and he was also incredibly strong, even stronger than regular people on land. He also had a special connection to the ocean and could kind of talk to the sea creatures. But Atlanta knew that her past in Atlantis was still dangerous. To protect Tom and Arthur from the powerful people she had left behind, she made a very sad choice. She had to go back to her underwater home, leaving Arthur with his loving dad, but also with a big mystery about who his mother really was and why he was so different. Years went by, and Arthur grew up with his dad, Tom, in the world above the sea. Tom taught him how to be a good person and how to live in the human world, but Arthur always felt a bit like he didn't quite fit in. He knew he was different because of his strength and his strange ability to be comfortable in the water. For a long time, sometimes when he was near the ocean, he felt a pull towards it, a connection to a world he didn't fully understand. As Arthur got older, he started to use his powers secretly to help people who were in trouble in the sea. If a ship was sinking, or someone was drowning, Arthur would jump in and use his super strength to save them. He could swim faster than any human and could even talk to the whales and dolphins, who would sometimes help him. But Arthur didn't want to be a hero in the spotlight. He just wanted to help when he could, and then go back to his quiet life with his dad. He kept his Atlantean side a secret from most people, feeling like he belonged to neither the land nor the sea completely. He was a man caught between two worlds, not really sure where his true home was. Meanwhile, way down under the ocean in the magnificent kingdom of Atlantis, things were getting very serious. Arthur had a half-brother named Orm Marius. Orm was Atlanta's son from before she met Tom, and he was now the king of Atlantis. Orm was very, very angry at the people who lived on the land. He saw how humans were polluting the oceans, dumping tons of trash and harmful chemicals into the water, which was hurting the sea creatures and destroying their homes. Orm believed that the people on land were a huge threat to Atlantis and all the life in the sea. He thought the only way to protect their world was to declare war on the surface and teach the humans a lesson, a very harsh lesson. Orm started to gather support from the other underwater kingdoms. He talked to the leaders of places like Beall, the Brine Kingdom, the Fisherman Tribe, and others, trying to convince them that the surface world was dangerous and needed to be destroyed. He was a powerful speaker and used strong words to make them angry and scared. He wanted to unite all the underwater kingdoms under his rule so they could launch a massive attack on the land. Imagine Orm standing in the grand halls of Atlantis, surrounded by his loyal soldiers and the leaders of the other underwater tribes, his voice full of fury as he spoke about the damage humans were causing and his plan for revenge. The threat of a war between the land and the sea was becoming very real, but not everyone in the underwater world agreed with Orm's plan for war. There was a very brave and skilled warrior princess from the kingdom of Beall named Mira. She was strong, smart, and had a good heart. Mira knew that starting a war with the people on land would be a terrible mistake that would hurt countless innocent people on both sides. She also knew about Arthur. She knew he was the firstborn son of Queen Atlanta and the rightful king of Atlantis, even though he lived on land and didn't even know his full heritage. Mira believed that Arthur was the only one who was strong enough and had a good enough heart to stop his brother Orm from starting this devastating war and to bring peace between the land and the sea. So even though it was very dangerous for her to go against the king, Mira decided to leave her underwater home and travel to the surface world to find Arthur. She knew it wouldn't be easy to convince him to get involved in the affairs of Atlantis, a world he barely knew. But she was determined because she knew the fate of both worlds depended on it. Imagine Mira swimming up through the deep ocean, leaving behind the familiar blue of her home, and entering the strange new world of air and sunshine, her red hair flowing behind her as she searched for the one man who could save them all. When Nasinu, she finally found Arthur and told him about the danger. He was shocked and didn't want to believe it at first, but Mira was very persuasive, showing him the beauty of the underwater world and the terrible damage being done to it, making him understand the importance of his role. Arthur finally agreed to go with Mira to the underwater kingdom of Atlantis. When they went under the sea, Arthur couldn't believe his eyes. Atlantis was an amazing and beautiful place, a huge city with tall, glowing buildings made of colorful corals and shiny metals. There were incredible underwater vehicles that looked like sleek, fast fish swimming through the water, and all sorts of amazing sea creatures, big and small, with all kinds of colors and shapes, were everywhere. It was a magical world beyond anything Arthur could have imagined. But even though Atlantis was so wonderful, there was also a lot of tension and danger. King Orm had a lot of power, and many people in Atlantis were afraid of him and his plans for war. They also didn't trust the people from the land. Arthur felt like an outsider in this strange new world, even though it was his mother's home. He had to learn the ways of Atlantis quickly if he was going to challenge his brother and try to stop the war. Mira helped him understand the customs and the history of their people, preparing him for the difficult task ahead. Picture Arthur walking through the grand, glowing halls of Atlantis, looking amazed at everything, but also feeling the weight of the responsibility he now carried. To become the true king of Atlantis and have the power to stop his brother Orm, Arthur needed to find a very special and powerful weapon called the Trident of Atlan. It was a legendary three-pronged spear that belonged to the very first king of Atlantis, a long, long time ago. Legend said that only the true heir to the throne, someone with royal blood and a pure heart, could wield its full power. So, Arthur and Mera had to go on a dangerous and exciting adventure to find it. Their journey took them through all sorts of incredible and also very scary underwater places. They swam through ancient sunken ruins that were filled with traps and puzzles left behind by the old kings. They had to escape from giant, hungry sea monsters with sharp teeth and glowing eyes. They even had to travel to a dark and terrifying place called the Trench, a deep black part of the ocean filled with monstrous creatures that had never seen the light and were incredibly dangerous. During their journey, Arthur started to learn more about his mother and his Atlantean heritage. He discovered that he was even stronger and faster underwater than he thought, and he learned how to really connect with the sea creatures who often helped them. Picture Arthur swimming with dolphins and whales, them guiding him through the dark waters and helping him find secret paths. Mera, who was a skilled warrior and knew a lot about the underwater world, saw that Arthur was becoming a true hero. She saw his kindness and his courage, and she knew he was the right person to be the king. Their friendship grew stronger with every challenge they faced together. Finally, after overcoming many dangers and solving ancient mysteries, Arthur and Mera found the legendary Trident of Atlan. It was hidden in a secret and very special place, protected by old magic. When Arthur held the trident in his hands, he felt a surge of incredible power flow through his body. He knew that he was finally ready to go back to Atlantis and face his brother Orm. Arthur and Mera returned to the beautiful but troubled kingdom. Arthur, holding the powerful trident, challenged Orm for the throne in front of all the people of Atlantis. It was a dramatic moment with everyone watching to see who would win. Orm was a strong and skilled warrior, and he had a lot of support. But Arthur had the legendary trident and the courage of someone fighting for what was right. They had a big and exciting battle in the underwater city, with water swirling all around them, and amazing sea creatures watching the fight. Arthur didn't just fight with his strength and the power of the trident. He also fought with the knowledge that he was trying to save both the land and the sea from a terrible war. He tried to show the people of Atlantis that Orm's way of anger and fighting was wrong, and that peace and understanding were the better way for everyone. The battle between Arthur and Orm was fierce and spectacular. They fought with all their might, using powerful Atlantean weapons and their incredible strength. The underwater city was filled with the sounds of their clashes and the swirling currents they created. Arthur, now wielding the trident with skill and confidence, showed Orm and all of Atlantis that he was a worthy opponent and the true heir to the throne. During the fight, Arthur tried to reason with Orm to make him see that his hatred for the surface world was wrong and that a war would only bring destruction to both their peoples. But Orm was blinded by his anger and his desire for power. The battle raged on, with both brothers giving it their till Arthur had to use all his strength, his connection to the sea, and the power of the trident to try and defeat his brother and stop his plans for war. It was a fight not just for the throne of Atlantis, but for the future of the entire world. Imagine the incredible underwater fight, with flashes of energy from their weapons and the amazing backdrop of the Atlantean city. In the end, after a long and hard fight, Arthur was able to defeat Orm. He didn't just beat him with strength. He also showed the people of Atlantis that he had a better vision for their future, a future where they could live in peace with the surface world. With Orm defeated, Arthur finally claimed his rightful place as the king of Atlantis. But Arthur didn't want to be just a king of the underwater world. Because he had lived on land with his dad and understood the human world too, he wanted to be a bridge between the two civilizations. He promised to work hard to bring peace and understanding between the people of the land and the people of the 2. He became Aquaman, a hero for both worlds. Someone who could swim and live in the ocean but also walk and talk on land. Someone who understood and cared for both ways of life. Imagine Aquaman standing tall and proud, both in the sparkling underwater cities of Atlantis and on the sandy shores of the land, a symbol of unity and hope for a future where everyone can live together peacefully. He was no longer just a man, caught between two worlds. He was the king who could unite them. Aquaman is a really exciting superhero movie, but it also tells us some important things. Family is important. The movie shows how the love between Arthur's parents shaped who he became, and how the conflict with his half-brother affected him deeply. Finding where you belong. Arthur always felt like he didn't fit in, but he eventually learned to embrace both sides of himself and found his place as a king who belongs to both land and sea. Protecting our planet. The movie highlights the importance of taking care of our oceans and how pollution can lead to big problems. Understanding each other. It shows how important it is for different groups of people to try and understand each other, even if they seem very different at first. Being a hero. Arthur learns that being a hero isn't just about having superpowers. It's about doing what's right and helping others even when it's hard. Jason Momoa, who played Aquaman, is actually from Hawaii and has a deep connection to the ocean in real life. The underwater scenes in the movie were created using a lot of special effects, but the actors still had to train to hold their breath for a long time and move like they were underwater. The costumes and the design of Atlantis were inspired by real sea creatures and ancient myths. The movie has some really amazing action scenes that took a lot of time and effort to film, both above and below the water. Many of the actors had to learn how to fight in the water, which is very different from fighting on land. So that's the full story of Aquaman, a movie filled with incredible underwater adventures, powerful heroes, and important messages about family, belonging, and protecting our world. Arthur's journey from someone who felt lost to a king who unites two worlds is a really inspiring one. Did you enjoy the amazing underwater world of Atlantis? What did you think of Arthur's journey to becoming Aquaman? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked this video and want to hear more movie explanations, please like this video, subscribe to Starverse, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next story. What movie should we explain next? Let us know in the comments.